Nope.
We are live. It's Saturday morning. It's startup weekend, day 2, COVID-19 edition, and it's myself and it is Sinead here in the morning. It's like a breakfast show, Sinead. What do you think?
I was just had that in my head. I was like, we are way too hyper and pumped up to get on for this Saturday morning.
We already have a special guest this morning. He's a controversial guest, Sinead. At the best of times, he's known lovingly as my best friend, William Shatner. He's had a number of disputes in the Irish Times with, who is it, I think, lately, Brian Caulfield, but we won't go into that. A lot of beef there, but he's here to support for this morning. So how did day 1 go for everyone? Sinead, what did you think? What did you think of last night?
Oh, man, I don't think I expected the amount of excitement that it is. And like, I did, I guess, in some way think that maybe we wouldn't be as full on because it was going to be online versus being offline in a venue. But oh my God, people were so chatty. I got to speak to so many people, which was great. The participants all having a good time. It was really great to see as well so many of them that, you know, if they were having issues, that they were really happy to engage with us and come with us, get involved, find their teams. We had one person join from Tralee at I think like 11:30 last night. So we got her in. She just messaged me. She's got sorted and has a team now this morning and everything, which is phenomenal. So we love to see people, you know, just jumping in, getting involved, because it can be a little bit, I guess, frustrating or a little bit put off if, you know, you don't have a team straight away. What are you going to do? But like that, there's so many other people in the same scenario. Like, we're here, we're totally here to help you get a team. So yeah, it was really great. And some of my friendly faces had great teams, started even before the lives went ready. So yeah, I think everyone just had a really good time, got engaged. It's amazing.
It's a good day. It is a good day to be at Startup Weekend. Well, where do we start? We had 200 plus attendees, 47 ideas, 18 finalized ideas. Some of those will make it through, some of those won't. And last night we had a lot of team formations going on. So I think, like, just kicking off here. So what happened yesterday? Well, just to recap, you know, people got to network, we got to kick off, we got to meet loads of great people, share ideas, and start forming those teams. I think one of the big things, and just, you know, for the start of today's kickoff, we're just going to do a quick recap on that. But what's going to happen today? Well, it's time to execute, validate your ideas, stay in the building, but get out there on the internet, get to chat with people and validate those ideas. We've got some phenomenal workshops a little later on this morning. We've got the wonderful Dave Cunningham at Dave Barna on Twitter, zooming in all the way through the internet via the west of Ireland to the whole of Ireland for today's event to give us a little understanding of the Lean Canvas. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a great backbone to how that's going to help you for the weekend. But get out there, work with your teams, chat with people, validate. And again, later on this afternoon, we've got some time with those great mentors this morning, and then also with Ed Fidgen-Kavanagh later on. But Sinead, you're going to just run through team formation and next steps at the moment, right?
Yes, I am. So guys, this is just for helping you this morning. So when we finish up from our amazing Lean Canvas talk with David, we're going to ask you to jump back on to Discord. And now for some of you that have your team, we're like really excited to let you go and let you get on with that Lean Canvas and start building out what you want to work on. For the other people that might not have a team yet, we have a special channel called I Need a Team. We've dedicated one of our absolutely lovely organizers onto that this morning. So she's going to be your connection. So if you want to jump into I Need a Team, I would suggest putting down maybe some of your skill sets that you have and like things that maybe you want to experience or want to get involved with over this weekend and how you can help out. And she'll be able to link in with the different teams that still need participants. So she can just moderate that conversation and help you guys get into a team. So if you're an individual watching this and you have not secured yourself a team, make sure that when you jump back into Discord that you go into I Need a Team and just fill out a really nice comment saying about your skill sets and what you'd like to get involved with in particular over the weekend, and we'll help you from there. Check out the announcement channel throughout the day to see all the ideas, joining a team again. So all that would have gone in yesterday. So you might see it at the very top that it's a pinned comment for you guys. And then, yeah, I need a team. So outside of that as well, I think one of the things that we noticed a lot of people were getting, we were getting feedback on was audio issues. So I think one of the things that the tech guys have come up with this morning is that if you are using it on your web browser, so at the moment, and you actually don't have it downloaded into your PC or laptop, that could be one of the main issues with it. So we'd ask that maybe if you're having a few issues with your audio, the first step is to make sure that it's downloaded onto your PC or your laptop first. And the second one is downloaded onto your phone afterwards if you're still having issues. That seemed to sort the majority of all the issues last night, and because people were just looking on their web browser. So if you are having audio issues, we just make sure that you do that. And if you're still having any issues or have anything else, then I would suggest hopping over to the tech channel where you can ask our lovely dedicated tech team who are on there. But that's it, guys. So yeah, make sure to get into your teams. Let us know, let the team lead know, so that we can fill out the Google form and get you on the road for today.
And just to remind everyone, web browsers, don't do it. It's not worth it. You've got lots to say. People need to hear it, and download the app. Make sure you do it. We have got lots of people this morning saying hello. We've got Juarez Jr. Juarez is from Microsoft. He's the wonderful person that supplied all that great kit for you. So make sure that you check out all of your perks, all the things that you can download. Azure credits are always a lovely thing. So Juarez, a big thanks for that. Susan Mills, a good friend of the Startup Weekend community, has just come back all the way from Seattle, is doing lots in the community in that respect. Good to see you. Natalie's just incredibly excited. I'm going to put that up on screen. It's going to fly up on screen, I think is the technical term. Yeah, that is how we want you all to feel this morning.
And Jean, I think I needed to give, so I actually made a special note of two people, our first two participants who were chatting this morning. I think it's a very honorable mention that we give them for Leona Chen and Owen Kogan. I seen you guys were the first people to say good morning in the chats to everybody. So thank you for joining and getting everybody started. I think it's worth noting because getting up on a Saturday morning can be difficult. So we say a big thank you for jumping on and saying hi to everybody else.
This is true. So speaking of which, day 2, aka Saturday morning. This is going to just pop up here. Let me just get this. Do apologize. This is just slowed down a little bit. We're going to learn from our mentors today. You're going to meet them between 10 and 1. We've got workshops. I hope you went to the yoga workshop. You're about to get an amazing workshop with Dave Cunningham, all about the lean canvas. And then around 5:20, a little bit more yoga and pitch and presentation skills with @ClearPrezo. The Chief Presentation Officer of clearprezo.com is coming in, Ed Fidgen-Kavanagh, for a special edition. So that's going to be pretty big. And then tomorrow, you're going to perfect your pitch, submit your pitch for 1 p.m., and obviously change the world. That's what we all do here. Let's just recap on the judging criteria, because this is good to have in your mind on the run-up to what you're going to be working through today, and also getting ready for tomorrow to submit those video pitches by 1 p.m. along with your presentation. So what's going to happen? Well, we've got these amazing people, yet again, leaders in their field, from law to business to health to robotics to everything in between. Some really great founders, some really great investors that are going to work with you on that. So what's going to happen? Well, first of all, we need you to submit that video pitch by 1 p.m. tomorrow. Length in around like 3 to 4 minutes. Don't go over it. It'll get cut off. You don't want that. You've got great things to say. Just make sure it's within that time frame. We're going to select ideas down from that and get to the top 10. And then those are going live online at 5 p.m. on this YouTube channel to be able to give you a little insight and give the world an insight into the amazing things you're doing. And we will select top 3 teams. They'll get auto-enrolled into the wider Global Startup Weekend COVID-19 Challenge, where 20 teams get selected for an awful lot of help from around the world. But we've got some great local prizes from some great local sponsors. But back to that judging criteria. What's the problem and the impact that you're making? What's your execution and design? What's that minimum viable product? What's that prototype that you're producing? Is it original? Is it feasible? And what's that business model that is going to work to make this a great idea today, tomorrow, a decade, and a century from here? So what is that going to do in that respect? Big one, Saturday mentoring sessions. Sinead, I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think we have somewhere in the region of 17 amazing mentors. Is that the right number?
That is the right number. And the champion facilitators have gotten the list. So all your teams have been assigned your mentors already this morning. So when you're talking to your champion facilitators, get them to get those names. It's really exciting. Have it looked up before you get to meet them. 17 amazing individuals on board. A big shout out if any of the mentors are watching. Thank you so much. We will see you shortly.
Yes. And again, we really couldn't do this without their help and support and coming in and being available. So this is a selection of some of the mentors that you're going to see today and tomorrow. We have emergency mentors or backup mentors ready tomorrow as well. So always check in with your champion facilitators. And these are some of the other people that are going to be helping from right across the country and further afield that want to be able to support you. And again, with your mentors, be coachable, be ready. What are those big questions you have? Have those ready for them. Listen to them. They're giving up a lot of time. They really do know what they're speaking about, and just be prepared for that. And again, your champs, your champion facilitators, they have spent an awful lot of time last night with you, a lot of time today, and a lot of time tomorrow. So again, a big thanks to Huichi, Colin, David, Tracy, Serena, and Kelsey. Again, they're assigned to your teams. If you don't have one yet, you don't know, get on to us. We'll introduce you. I'm sure you all have been. There's a beautiful message from Colin. Bonjour, enchanté, Colin. And I hope you're keeping well in Wicklow this morning. The beautiful Bray. He looks out on the sea every morning. I'm very jealous, but that is a lovely thing. And he deserves that, as he's a good man. But in respect of that, we've got these amazing champs. They're going to work with you over the next little bit. And again, they're experienced facilitators assigned between teams. There's different slots that they're going to check in. So around 10:30, I think around 2 and a little later this evening and tomorrow as well. Again, just rack and stack questions. They're there to help you with that. And they've been through this, so they really know how it all works. Now, we've got our speakers coming up later is Ed and Dave. But right now, we've got the Build Your Lean Canvas workshop. So Dave, if you'd like to come on stage in the best way possible by switching on your cam and switching on your microphone, we're going to be handing over to you in a second. Dave, all the way from the west of Ireland, how are you?
Fáilte go Barna Conde na Gaillimhe, Cé bhfuil sibh?
Gahanawa.
Good stuff. Great to see you, and thanks so much for allowing me to be part of this. It's incredible what you're doing, and watched you last night. I think the two of you have definitely a career in TV together. Absolutely fantastic. So well done.
Thank you.
A big thank you. I'm sure Sinead's going to thank you as well. But again, much like our sponsors and everyone that's put their hand up right across the country to come together while staying apart to fight back against COVID-19 through Startup Weekend, where we get to meet people, learn new skills, and have fun doing that. First time in 10 years it's been online. But Dave, can't say thank you enough, for getting a message from me on Twitter and saying, how can I help? What can I do? And us, going through all this, really can't thank you enough in that respect. So that's a big thank you from me and the Startup Weekend family here. Sinead?
Yeah, I think ahead of it, just because I think what Saturday is all about and getting kicked off and stuff, I'd love to ask you both a question. How
Great.
are you for question and answer time? Just because I think we might have a few people still just coming on there. But so, Jean, you mentioned today is about... sorry,
We're ready. Myself, the captain, and Dave.
Bring it on.
A big thing you said about this morning is about validation around the idea and, the problem. And one thing I think when you're in a venue, you can just physically go out onto the streets and ask people, what would be your top tips how to validate online this morning? Where do you think you could go? What do you think you could do? Maybe just to help people out a little on how they could best do validation.
Can I confer? Can I confer with my teammate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a second. What?
No, David, you're not. It's his sidekick.
He had an idea. It's obviously we haven't invented that technology yet, and the last time you tried it, it didn't work. So we're going to just put you away for a moment. What I would say is that, what are those ways that you can meet people? Well, you're all online. You've got access to LinkedIn. You've got access to your mentors. You've got access to Twitter. You've got access to your phone. Who do you want to chat to? And, through, what Dave's going to teach you here, a big part, I think, is always, who is that customer? You don't have to have it right. And there could be 2 or 3 different customers. But when you know what they roughly are, and try and get to that as quickly as possible, ask your mentors, do you know any customers like this? Could you make an introduction? Here's a one-line explainer on what we do. Just get very clear and very concise and say, Dave, I saw your talk. We've got an idea about this, and I think you might be able to help from something you said. Here's a one-line explainer. Do you know 2 people that you could introduce us to? Because we'd love to take 10 minutes and no more time to be able to get that. Everyone is a contact. There's 200 attendees here. There's 52 people, from organizers to judges to mentors to everyone else coming together. If you get each one of those to help you twice, you got 500 people. You could make a lot of money doing that. So that would be my opinion. And I apologize. He's always thinking in the future, but never really in relation today. So I do apologize. Dave, what's your thoughts?
People love being asked for their opinion. I've never been, it never fails to kind of delight me how much, particularly people who are good at what they've done before, other entrepreneurs, people who've built businesses, they love giving back. The good ones love giving back and trying to help people along, because they understand that entrepreneurship as a whole, and it's something that I usually say is, and I said this actually, and it's interesting how I got into all this stuff, is that I was doing interesting to me, maybe not to you. I had a golf retail store that I sold, and then I was teaching yoga after that full time for about 12 years. I was teaching yoga full time, and I was asked to teach yoga at a startup weekend. And the first thing I did was I got up and standing up on the table, and I said, okay, so I'm standing up and I'm saying, entrepreneurship is hazardous for your health. It's hazardous for your relationships, your family, your finances, and everything else. It's a terrible life choice unless you try and be as smart as possible about it. So I think the thing is, people who are entrepreneurs who've done stuff before know the pain of entrepreneurship and know what you have to go through. And they, I suppose there's community in pain, I think, is the message. And just go and ask people. There's Twitter is absolutely fantastic. LinkedIn mightn't be used as much over the weekend here, but people are going to be on Twitter. I'd be doubling down on that.
Yeah, I think they're great points. So for anybody who is doing validation this morning, get out. You have your Facebooks, your Twitters, like that, your LinkedIn. You have a mad amount of mentors and everything. So you have a network to be able to go out and validate with. And I think even the community and pain part is good, because even for us on my first startup weekend, we had it in Galway. We were so nervous to go out and ask people. And it wasn't until we started doing it that we really were able to get our problem and solution identified and narrowed down and honed in on. So make sure and get out and do that. So thanks, guys, for answering my question. I just thought that might be a nice one for a little validation in the morning.
Both of us here in the bag at Belfry are happy to help. Some more than others, but nonetheless, we do appreciate it. Dave, you're gonna share your screen now. We're gonna step down. So once you've got that done, we'll do that. What we would say just on Dave's last point is SW COVID IRL. Please use that on all your social media. Get the message out there. We'll all help each other together, and we'll be watching that channel and that hashtag. So I am going to take my screen away here. We're going to move over to Validator. We're going to come off our cameras. Thank you very much.
Cool. It's almost like you knew there was somebody from a company called Validator coming on, Sinead, which is amazing. So Validator is something that myself and a friend of mine, Mars O'Gorman, started to to try and teach and spread the gospel of a way of thinking around developing business in remote areas like the west of Ireland where we live. So Validator is a company that's doing some pre-accelerator work around the region here, trying to help people think about business in a way that maybe, I suppose here we're quite used to thinking about making things like woolly jumpers and jam and tourism and stuff like that. But those SME type businesses are fantastic. But what we wanted to see when we set up the Porter Shed and had people applying to our accelerator program was, we need to see these innovation driven enterprises, as people call them, ones that, yes, you spend some money on R&D and developing your product, and it costs a bit at the start. You don't get the regular cash in. You might need venture capital to do that, but then when it comes up, you can create a bunch of jobs out of it. And to me, jobs and creating jobs are the best anti-poverty devices in the world, in my view. So creating employment, and that's why at this time we need you around the world to also create jobs, because in my view it's one of the best things you can do, and people are going to need, we're going to need new ideas and new businesses coming to life. So Dave is my name, and I'm going to kick on. So hi from Galway, here in the west of Ireland. See, looking out on Galway Bay here, it is a great place to be. As I mentioned, I was teaching yoga at a startup weekend, probably around 2012 or 2013, I can't remember. And I was really thought this is amazing. And then I eventually went to the Web Summit, and Paddy asked me to teach yoga there. And I was like, whoa, this tech is really a thing. So I set up a co-working space in Galway, and then after that we ran a conference, and I was really taken by the lean startup being the Bible, let's say, of startups at the time, and still is the foundation of a lot of accelerator programs. And so I wrote to Eric Ries, as you do, and I said, Eric, any chance I could bring your conference to Europe? And sure enough, I went and met him and Heather, the CEO of the Lean Startup Company, and I'm the only person that Eric Ries has ever licensed his trademark to, which is pretty crazy. So I brought it to London. I got this nice T-shirt here from my conference in London in 2016. And did it in 2016, 2017. Here's Alex Osterwalder, who is the creator of the business model Canvas, speaking at it. So big thanks to him for what he's given to us. So anyway, I ran this conference, got to know the Lean Startup quite a bit, and I really think it's an amazing tool and an amazing discipline in order to help you shape your business, and for this startup weekend to bring you focus to what's really important and what's not. And I think focus is going to be the real key things for you. So big thanks to Alex and to others who I absolutely butcher their great work over the next while. To Eric Ries. So as I said, Lean Startup, just as we get into it, it's a discipline, and it is for you to take that discipline now and just apply it and say, look, let's keep focused on the customer. Let's really refine our offering as best we can, and let's only build stuff that people actually want. So validating your hypotheses, which are twofold. So when you're building a business, first, you got to ask, should we build this new product or service? And then the second thing is, how do we increase our odds of success? So Lean Startup for me, and using this framework of the business model Canvas as your kind of go-to thing, is going to help you keep focused on what really needs to be done, on keep refining that you're solving the problems for your potential customers, and help you along the way. As I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship is a pain full journey. So to me, lean startup, I often say, is about pain mitigation. It's about reducing how much pain you have to go through so that you don't have to continue learning, continue coming back to your family and saying, yeah, it's nearly there, I really feel we're getting there, and they keep hearing the same thing over and over. You want to be as fast as you can with your learnings so that you can accelerate your business. So it's all about increasing your chance of success in the fastest time possible. So big thanks to Eric for a brilliant methodology. So business model canvas. So this is, rather than write your long business plan, this is it's just on one page and it focuses everything. It's called a canvas because as Alex says, you can paint over it and you can touch it up and you can be constantly using it. But it's about really attacking those toughest problems in the smartest ways possible with focus on what value you bring to whom and how. It's how you're going to do it, who you're going to bring it to, and what it is, and the constant feedback loop of validating your leap of faith assumptions, which are two things. One is you have actually we'll come to that in a bit. Let's kick on. Let's have a look at it. So as I said, this is about focus, and it's about you focusing on who the customers are, what the heck their problems are, and what the solutions you are going to provide in order to solve that problem. So here's a lean canvas that the guys have really whipped up a nice version that you'll be able to use. Daniel has put this together, and you've got a really good. It's so much easier to use this when you're in person. You can write sticky notes and throw them up on a whiteboard and talk to each other about it. We've the team, the amazing 13-person team there, worked really hard in order to give you a digital experience of this, so that you can throw those ideas up there and iterate around all of these areas. So let's have a look at this thing for a moment. So if we have a look at number one, okay, is the problem. So you want to just think about your top three problems. You're going to, from those problems, you're going to figure out solutions, of course, and then you're going to look at the right-hand side of the screen there, the customer segments. You're going to really delve down into who those people are, and you're going to develop your value proposition, which is going to meet and solve their problems. But the key thing is, yeah, you're going to measure things as you go along. But the key thing is you want to figure out how you're going to get to those people, what it's going to cost you in order to deliver through your channels to reach these customers. And you're going to have this constant balance of what are my revenue streams, what are my cost structures, and using this template, it'll help you populate and find out how things are. And when you do those things, you're going to figure out if you have an actual business, because you want you want to be delivering real value. You want to have something that people actually pay for. And this is going to be a really important question when you're talking to people later. It's not, oh, would you like this service? Is, would you be willing to pay for this service? That's an important thing. So let's zip on, but this we'll come back to this in a little while. So we have a problem. Gifts courtesy of Gene, the gift master general. So problems and solutions. So you're going to focus on what your problem is. Thinking about your customers in the sector that you've picked. What are those top three problems that your customer faces? And you got to focus on what they actually need, not what they want or those nice to have things. It's like laser-like Bruce Lee focus on what they actually need to solve the problem that you've identified by talking to customers. So you got to do this, and this is going to be really, really key. So if I was on your team and trying to score bonus points, I would be trying to really be one of the best teams in terms of customer development, in terms of the metrics around how many people you talk to, the feedback you get. Not only is that going to help you shape your value proposition, which is going to make it more compelling as an overall choice, but it's also going to help you score points along the way. But it's just, building something in the dark is really, really not a good idea. You got to go and speak to people, and you've got to hopefully have come up with your unique value proposition. So the thing about the value proposition is that you want it to be unique. Although you could be like some businesses, like here I have I've spent so much time in the fintech area over the last while. I was a CEO of a reg tech company for about 3 years or so. Here's Fire.com, great Irish challenger bank. Here's Curve, another example. Here's Revolut, who a lot of you know. Here's Bunk, and here's AIB. There's so many of them out there, and it's all about how can you really get something that resonates, that is your unique value proposition. And let's see what sets you apart. So the thing about it is, as I illustrated there with the cards, is that yes, we're looking for those unique value propositions, but it's really hard to come up with something absolutely unique. If you look at Zoom and their growth over the while, I mean, Skype has been around for a long time. Zoom, oh shit, Microsoft are sponsoring this, right? I better not say that they haven't innovated so well in the Stripe area, opening the door for Zoom. Shit, this isn't recorded or anything. Oh, anyway. Zoom, it's not like it's new. It's just that it's easy, and that it's getting to customers in a way, and now with COVID even more so, growing exponentially. So what sets you apart? As I said, the leap of faith assumptions. I love this concept in particular from the Lean Startup, is that you've got your value hypothesis. What is it that is delivering real value to solve a problem for your customer? And then you've got to make sure that it's actually worth doing this. If there's only 2, 3, 4, 5 customers who you're solving this problem for, then you don't really have a trajectory of growth. There's no growth hypothesis then. So you've got to say, firstly, does this add value, solve a real problem for my customers? And then secondly, is this a big enough problem that I can make a business out of it? And when you validate those leap of faith assumptions, then you are really onto something. All right, so try to see if you can refine that down, because you're going to have a short pitch, and you've got to really get to the heart of this. So it's got to be, instead of from prose, you've got to get down to poetry and say, this is why I'm going to be chosen. And you got to make it really compelling for others. Make it concise, clear, and tweetable. I really like that. And that's one of Gene's lines. So, unfair advantage. Why are you the best people in the world to create and deliver this solution? What direct experience do you have? What network do you have that you can bring this to life in? Because there's so many competing solutions out there that if you're not the right team doing the right thing, it's going to be hard to succeed. So here's Anne Bowden speaking on stage at the Lean Startup in 2017, 2 weeks before she was launching her Starling Bank app, which has gone on to really become a really big bank. She's raised, I think, close to $500 million on it now, and coming to Ireland soon with a really excellent person in Elaine Deehan leading things there, a great female entrepreneur from Ireland. So Anne had experience. She was in a bank who shall remain, AIB, and she saw that in these old in the incumbent banks, it took so long to do things, and the legacy tech structure that was in there was really holding them back from innovating. So she said, she decided to leave. She went on a holiday, and she said, I'm going to build a bank. And so she did, and fair play to her. So why are you as a team, and what can you bring to it that is your unfair advantage, that some particular secret, and you've seen some problem happening, that you are the person to help bring this to life? And can you rally around people or get access to people who can give you that unfair advantage? One of the best things would be, maybe you have access to someone who knows a problem really, really well. Get them on Twitter, get them on LinkedIn, harass them on WhatsApp until they answer your call today, and then delve into their mind to say, how can we solve this problem? The solution, another gift from Gene, very nice. The solution, top 3 features. So you got to focus on focus on what the customer actually needs, not what they want. So look for those top 3 features. So here there is Nikolai from Revolut, who is based in Level 39, which is this place here, who hosted my conference. I remember these people in 2016 just getting going. We'd be there in Level 39, really intense, working hard, but they were just nobody knew them at the time. And incredible focus on the pain point that Nikolai knew really well, which was about sending money overseas, or taking and going and spending money and getting charged a huge amount on interchange by banks. So he said, look, I'm going to build something that's going to be really big. I'm going to save people money as they travel, and later he brought on the cross-border payments piece, which is really quite incredible. So focusing on what the customer needs, not what they want. So the app itself, really simple, getting to the point, all on one page there, really, really simple. And now they're building it out up on, I think it's 5.6 billion valuation now, over 10 million people on Revolut. Pretty incredible. So focusing on those top things, the things that people really want, and then you're going to use your customer development to kind of figure out and really refine to make sure that you're solving those problems. All right. Channels is the next thing. So channels, if we look at how Apple and Goldman Sachs partnered together to bring out this credit card recently. Sorry for all the fintech focused ones. It's kind of where I've been living. But the thing is that if Goldman Sachs they hadn't done a retail bank before. If they wanted to get access to customers, how could they get access to a lot of pretty affluent customers who are iPhone users across the world? So Apple provided that gateway to them to work together to build this product for them. So a massively great choice in terms of channel by Goldman Sachs and working together. So it's all about how you're going to reach your customers, your channels, your path to your customers. So the thing is that you've got to develop relationships with them, figure out where they live most of their lives. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Are they like my 4 kids down here, more than likely on TikTok? How are you going to get at them? Are you going direct to them? Are you going to work with a partner like Goldman Sachs did with Apple? And you got to continuously be focusing on their pain points. So I'll tell you just about another quick business that I did. So when I was kind of at that startup weekend, I decided to leave the yoga business. My wife and I had like 5 yoga studios at one stage, and decided to go back into what I called real business. And I was bringing a solution for weight management, which is, trying to make people healthier, from the NHS in the UK back to Ireland to the HSE here. So we in Ireland, we have a massive problem with obesity, like so many countries. So I was bringing the solution back to Ireland. So I decided for my channel, I was going to train dietitians. They're the only ones who can work in hospitals. And I was working with the head of medicine here in NUIG here to try and bring this great solution to help our country, to stop us being the fattest nation in the world by 2030, which we're on track to be. So I said, okay, well, I've got to use the best people, dietitians. They're the most highly trained to bring this solution. We're going to do this through hospitals and everything. It cost me 2 years of my life and about 100,000 of a loss on that business, because people, it's a sensitive issue, weight management and managing that. They need someone that they can really relate to. And people, the dietitians working in hospitals, people found it a little bit too clinical, the whole thing. They wanted a trusted confidant who they could engage with well, as you see nutritionists and online people are really doing at the moment. So for us, even though we had brilliantly on paper the best people in the world to deliver these solutions, I spent a bunch of money training them. I didn't get them to buy a franchise. I said, look, I'll pay for your training. I'll do all the marketing. I sponsored the Right Hook on News Talk and the happiness index on that. Spent a ton of money to try and get the brand Counterweight out there, but nobody wanted to do it because they needed people that they could relate to, that were easily accessible, and my channel was completely wrong. That said, everything when you're the CEO of a company is your fault if it's not going wrong. So it's entirely my fault for making a ton of poor decisions. But anyway, that's just one example which is just detailing my pain with you. So pick your channels correctly. What are you going to do with this solution now in order to bring your solution to your customers? Who are the right people to deliver it there? Because they're going to make up part of your cost base as well, right? So it's going to be cost. How are you going to reach people? Is it going to be and then you mightn't all get the Revolut kind of viral kind of sharing, but creating these network effects where more people want to bring more people onto a network, that's absolutely fantastic. But what we're looking for, again, just to go back to focus and Bruce Lee, is that focus on who are my real customers. Because if you say everybody's my customer, it's very hard to target them and to reach them, even to get the feedback that you're going to need over the next few days. So here's the next piece around measuring everything. Again, cheers, Gene, for the GIF. Key metrics. How do you measure success? So this is the key thing that you've got to look at. Try and measure everything. And just for you as a group working on this startup weekend, the more that you can measure things and illustrate to the judges that you have, here's all the people I talked to, here's the exact way that they've responded, here's a graph that shows that makes it easy to digest this. That's all going to be really good as part of this competition that we're in, right? But more importantly, in the competition of life, making this business, you need to because wouldn't it be great if what you're working on this weekend, you could actually turn into a real business with the help of Techstars and others who are there wanting you to succeed and reaching people and changing those lives? That would be great. So the more that you refine and measure things and really figure out so that you can make data-driven decisions, that's fantastic. So you've got access. You're all, I'm sure, way more clever than I at tracking things, but like, write down everything, measure it so that it informs your decisions. And when the judges ask you in your pitch, how do you know this is the right direction? You've got the data there to show them. Okay, so costs and revenue. So you can, like me, throw money at things like I did with Counterweight. That actually totally reminds me of me on the left there with that particular business. Hope you really want to get something that people actually want you to take their money. Costs. So the cost part. So down at the bottom, you've got the revenue and costs on your lean canvas. Okay, so you got to figure out, to reach my customers, to run my channels, how much is that going to cost me? Is it going to cost me in marketing spend? Is it going to cost me in a percentage of revenue that I've got to give to my channel partners if it's indirect? How much will it cost me to find the customer? So back to the fintech space, in this space, the cost of acquisition in terms of getting people to have your card here, to download the app, to order the card, all of this, that was around 150 to 300 pounds is what we figured in the UK on this. Quite expensive to get people on board. So that's why there's a lot of these companies will focus on massive growth, but it's going to cost a lot to acquire those customers. You're looking for in this game, as best you can, how can you reduce your cost of customer acquisition? How can you make it so that it ends up like Revolut, where everybody's inviting their friends? And Revolut, you might have been invited by a friend and they gave you £10 or €10 just to join. Look for those ways to acquire your customers, to keep things down and to make it really grow. Also, what does it cost to build your solution? If you're going to be focusing in the healthcare space, in this COVID challenge, in order to build stuff, find out what the cost is there to make it. And is your solution, if it's PPE, for example, is there, it's no point in going with the inferior kind of quality stuff if it doesn't actually do the job. So find out how much things are going to cost you. So it's mainly made up for people and stuff. People and stuff, how much does that cost? On the revenue. So this is going to be populated by your solution area. Okay, so when you've refined your value proposition, and when you have your top 3 solutions to solve the top 3 problems for your customers, you got to assign what people are willing to pay for solving that particular problem. And that's going to really help you make an actual case for revenue. And the thing about it is that the days of if you build it and they will come are gone. And that's where that's the way traditional businesses were built in the past. It was like, I have this great idea, I am a world expert in this space, I know if I build this business, I'm going to get customers. Do not do that. That's the anti-lean startup methodology. Okay, so the lean startup is all about validation. It's all about getting feedback from customers, so that before you spend more money, you have already validated that people are willing to pay for this. So really focus in on your customer development over the next while as to how people are going to pay you to solve their big problems. Okay. As we talked earlier about the growth hypothesis, how big is your customer base? That's good. Really, it's really good to focus that you say, okay, I've got a good sized customer base who are gonna pay this amount of money. That adds up to lots of dollars for you, and this is going to look good as things go along and make your business actually viable. So the last question there is just around how long it'll take to start growing your idea. If this is like a medtech business, as we have so many great ones here in the west of Ireland, usually they're around a 7-year kind of journey. We're on the COVID challenge here. We need some solutions fast, so let's avoid the long ones as best we can. Yeah. So back to the lean canvas, as we have, and you have access to this using some really good technology from the team. So you're going to populate this. But the idea, as I said at the start, is that this is a canvas, as Alex said, this is for painting over, for restarting, for reshaping, and for continually being use it. As Jean likes to say, it is your ship's log. It's a thing that you constantly go back to make sure that you're going in the right direction. So I'd encourage you really to nail that problem. Talk to customers to refine your value proposition, measure and get the details as to how people are going to pay for that, and that's going to really help you as best we can. So this is a really fantastic tool. I think I'd love to see you use it well, and I hope it guides you as best as well as it has done for me in certain area in the ones that I didn't completely mess up in the businesses. But I hope it serves you well over this weekend. So Genshi Genbutsu, I should have really practiced my pronunciation of that. That means get out of the building. So when you develop your questions to validate your leaked assumptions, which refines your value proposition, you will develop those questions, get out of the building, as that means, and go and ask them. Now, unfortunately, you kind of have to stay in the building here, which means, luckily, some good people have invented the internet just for this specific reason, so that you can go and ask the questions online. The lean canvas, we want to figure out that it's correct, but to be honest, it is never fully correct. It's just your best guess, and it's your best guide that allows you to adopt a process of continuous innovation, because you're always painting over it again, but you come back over and over to help you and have direction. And the good thing about you all being on the same page and having direction is that it will help you, particularly in this remote team, to actually all be going in the right way. So go and ask the questions, enjoy, and good luck on this journey. And thank you so much for sticking with me this morning, and let's see how we go from here. So should there be any questions, I am here. So I think is Daniel joining next, Jean, to kind of walk people through, or do you want to do some questions?
I don't know if you can hear that round of applause that I somehow managed to find on YouTube, but again, a major thank you for that. Now let's close that. Dave, can't say thank you enough to that. Sinead, if you want to pop back up on screen, what we're going to do is take a few little questions here. So Daniel, what are some of our first questions that are coming out from our comments?
I can see one here anyway from Leona, if we want to pop one up there. how to decide what an MVP should be like?
Want me to go?
Yeah,
Take it.
please.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just jump in, the three of us here. Anyway, the MVP, what it should be like. So the important thing is that it is the M bit in that. It's the minimum viable product. So it's the minimum that you can do to test and validate your assumptions. So you're doing the basics. So that is, and it's going to totally change. So your MVP over the weekend is going to change entirely. Hopefully you're going to have your initial piece that you're going to test and validate, and it could be a website, it could be a maybe you have the capability to build an app, but you'll be able to add additional features as you go on and as you refine your propositions, but just start with something really small. So start your initial MVP, your initial thing to be validated is just your questions. Like, if I bring a weight management solution from the UK to Ireland, would you be interested in paying for it if it's an evidence-based weight management program? That was some of the questions that I should have asked a bit better myself in my past. So it's just asking. Questions are cheap, code is expensive. So let's see if you can develop better questions, and that should be your first MVP.
Yeah, I think so. I think I couldn't disagree with you there. Let's be honest, you got 54 hours. What we want to see is that like critical thinking behind what you're doing. So have you chatted with customers? Are you showing that? And are you taking that into account with what you're going out with? What happens today could be completely different in 24 hours by the time tomorrow comes around. Listening to customers and really hearing them, very important. MVP could be a one-page website that really articulates what you're doing. You put some thought into it. It's got a sign up because you want to get those, lovely customer emails. But on top of that, maybe it's InVision or Marvel app or something else. Or, Daniel has put a huge amount of time behind the scenes into setting up your Miro whiteboards. So every group, once you close that down, gets a Miro whiteboard. It's got Dave's lean canvas in there. You can add post-it notes to it. And again, just to remind you all about that, definitely use that. It's a great way to, like a tool for you all remotely to come together and work together. But an MVP, it can be as big or as little, but do make something. You've got great teams. You've got lots of people. It's going to be a leadership skill for, some of you as well. How do you, split your team up? So all these things are working together. These are all the things you learned during the startup weekend. But in recap, MVP can be that one-page website, that mock-up through InVision. It can be something. It's not a finished product, is what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's a very good way of looking at it. And it's not at the end of the day like that. You're working 54 hours on this. You want to be able to show something, even for yourselves. It helps you define what's really important about the idea and the solution. So like that, a one-pager website and things is great. So I haven't seen any other questions, but
what are some good ways to validate your idea? Is there from Slam? We'll go with that one.
Yeah, please do.
So back to the previous one is just I think one of the greatest skills you can have is to ask questions, ask better questions. And the most intelligent people that I've come across and learned from, they've been able to refine questions to really help them on their journey. So the more that you as a team really drill down to the core problem and really refine the question down, then when you push that question out, you're going to get validation back if it's easy to answer it and if it really gets to the point. So it's really just like, to me, one of the ways would be to really refine your question down, but make sure, yes, don't fall into the trap where you're asking, is this a good idea? Ask, do you think, or would you be willing to pay for this? And the more that you can illustrate to the judges that you have talked to people, you've refined your offer, it's gone from here, your MVP has gone from here to here, and now you have something where you've got evidence that people are willing to pay for this. Maybe you even have some signups, some real life signups. That would be a good way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, so as you know, I run Startup Boost. It's a pre-accelerator, and with Natalie, we've set up a new online, area for new online community for entrepreneurs called BoostX, which will be launching quite soon. But last month, it's what I love to call Disco Month, which is customer discovery. So it's all about customer development. And I think just, in line with what Dave is saying there, it's, who are those customers? Again, you could have multiple customers. It's like the Warren Buffett approach to things. Wealth is created by having, money you spend, you risk, and you save, and again, there's one perfect customer. You're looking for the market being here, your product being here, and the MVP. How do you get that fit? So, I think when it all comes back to it, it's just, again, not being scared to say, will you use this? What do you need? Listening for those needs, not like pushing your wants on people. And also, if it's something you're going to charge for, saying, well, listen, it's like the parent test. That one we've discussed before is, if I go and find some, a vase on the side of the street, and I was to put on the mantelpiece, before lockdown, and say to my mother, what do you think of this? I just made this. She might turn around and say, you're the best son in the world. This is the best vase that's ever been made. Now, if I repeat that situation, but say, look what I found in the street, she'll throw me and it, much like a scene from Jazzy Jeff being ejected from the Fresh Prince's Bel Air house, straight out. And I think the thing is, people close to you will want to tell you, unfortunately, what you want to hear. So trying to get out to people asking the mentors, asking the people around you, getting on, to Twitter, doing all those things for your help. Like we've already seen one of the participants, Helen Rhea, has pushed out a survey, is getting out there, is using the hashtag. Like these are the things that you can do. So I'd really just make sure that you're chatting to as many people as possible. You're putting out those good questions. You're looking to tell them that you can go and buy it tomorrow if you want to sign up today. Don't be fearful with that. Get those questions answered.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I always found, especially in a startup weekend environment, is you already have your team. So I'd suggest one person just going and building out the questions, and then ask your teammates to fill them out, and then ask them to have the mind of, do you feel like I'm guiding you or pointing you in the direction of our thing, or do you think that it's sorry, I phrased that wrong. Do you think that the way you're phrasing the questions is actually that you're driving them that they should take this solution, and you're just fitting it in so it solves what you've already created in terms of a solution? Or are you actually genuinely asking them questions and finding where their pain points are within that area, within that industry? And it just might end up that you might find what should be your unique selling proposition if you can really narrow down what's the actual pain point from that area. So just make sure that you're not just like leading them towards your solution. You're actually just finding out as much of information that they're willing to give up around that area, and get your teammates to fill it out first. Be like, hey guys, do this first. Tell me where you think maybe we should be asking a question instead. Are we getting the full scope of what we need to be asking people? And then let it loose on the internet. Go wild.
Yeah. I mean, Jean, I'm glad you didn't have to be thrown out and go and live with your aunt and uncle in Bel Air. But anyway, that was the good job on the vase. I totally agree with those ones. There was a good question there as well. Quick one, can we validate our problem solutions through LinkedIn industry experts? Absolutely. The more like, particularly if they have industry expert and thought leader in their bio, there's style points for that. No, I'm joking. But anyway, definitely find some experts. That would be good. There was one that popped up there about the non-users when our customers are non-users. That one is a tricky one. I mean, the thing is that you've got to figure out, that one. So our customers are not our users. How does the canvas tackle this? So if the end customer is if there's a B to B to C type model, I think we're talking about here. Do you read it like that?
Yeah.
Sinead, Jean?
So I think I know the idea as well. So it would be B to B to C.
Sorry, I'm just telling someone I'm on the call here.
No worries.
Go ahead.
So it's B to B to C. Yeah, is correct, because I know the idea.
Yeah. So I think in that one, you've you're not going to have, if you're going to do B2B, then so for us, when I was running Privity, we were a RegTech solution. Our customers, we were working through MasterCard to bring a solution to banks. So MasterCard effectively were our first customer, but they wouldn't become a B2B client of ours unless we could get validation from the end customer. So there's no way, or there's no point in no channel partner or no middle person is going to stand in the middle unless you've got validated evidence that the customers who they're trying to reach are saying, you're solving a real problem for me. So you do have to go to the source and be as clinical as possible and as disciplined as possible to say, let's get some evidence from our customers that from your customers, middle person, that this is a real problem and we're solving it. That would be my initial take. What about you?
I think the one thing I always look at is just, again, as entrepreneurs, we have a terrible difficulty in making things overcomplicated. And I think there's that great one, the Startup Grimlock, where there's this like cartoon series, and there's the stupid person, the clever person, and there's like a one-armed bandit, like Las Vegas machine, and you see the stupid person pulls it, money comes out, keeps pulling it, just keeps doing that. The smart person pulls it, money comes out, and suddenly is trying to fiddle with it and adjust it and like overthink things. And I think to your point, you have a solution, you have a customer. What is a day in the life for them like? Same with your user, and how do you amalgamate those with the lean canvas? There's still a problem, there's still a solution, there's still an area for cost, there's still an area for revenue, there's still a way to get to your users. And I think tackle one at a time, because if you can provide value and delight those users, customers are going to be able to pop up in that and keep thinking of that as well. So again remember the time you have, what you have access to. And I think if you're confused about that, make sure that they're the questions you're leading with in your mentors, and remember to be coachable. So if there's time that you need to pull your team out to go and research your business model, sometimes it's like trying to affect the laws of gravity. Some businesses have tried to, go to the point of not just changing a business model, but change the laws of gravity in that respect. Things, drop when you fall, and you can't really go and put your time into that. Work with your mentors, listen to what Dave said. It's a live stream, there's a recording of it, you can get back to it. But I think, they would be the main things. And equally, as I'm going to pop up here on screen, use this hashtag that you see right here, during this conversation, during the weekend, make sure that you do all this. But I think, Sinead, we may have time for one more question, and then it's time for the mentors, and you and I are going to wrap this up. But do we have one last question that we'd like to...
Helen has a really good question there. Helen Ray. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. So, an online platform for grieving during times of social distancing. I mean, what a brilliant idea, and what a I mean, this is we've all seen the images of people at the moment. So look, just because, I mean, that's probably, there may be a feeling like, how do you approach a revenue model for something like grief? You're not selling grief. You're selling connection, and you're selling bringing people together. That is what you're doing. So it's, would I, touch wood, I don't experience that at the moment, but like bringing people together at a time like this, is that something that I would be willing to pay some for? Absolutely, but you just gotta figure out and talk to people, what's a reasonable amount to charge here.
Yeah, sadly we lost a family member 2 weeks ago, and going through that process now. This is an interesting one. I think there's a cost to all these things, because it's a tough thing to deal with, but again, you need to extrapolate it away. So I think it's being sensitive around this issue, chatting with people about it. But it's definitely something that people need support and help with, because it's a tough thing to have to deal with. So if you can do that in a very important way, And again, I think if you're mindful of this at the moment, then I think that's going to, probably, blend into the culture of what you're building as an idea in a business. So I have a feeling, just reading between the lines, that you're already in the right mindset to do something like this. So I'm happy to chat more about you with that.
One of the things we need, or Sinead, you go, please. Sorry.
Yeah, no, just touching on that, and for any of the participants that are watching, and that you have the teams, regardless of the idea, even for yourself, Helen, with this, I want you all to, do take a step back to realize, and I guess just process the fact that each and every idea that's being worked on this weekend is all to contribute a positive action towards COVID-19. So although it like that, you were saying, is this, how do you approach a revenue model for something like grief? It's actually, you're solving such a problem for people that wouldn't be able to maybe share the person or the individual or what other people might see without your solution. So for anyone that's doing this, just remember your ideas and what you're working on this weekend is so important. You're making such an impact by just all being here. A normal startup weekend is phenomenal anyway, but you guys are just going overboard and doing so much more by coming and doing this together for COVID-19. So make sure to take a second to breathe in and just realize that you are actually being a part of the solution in a broader sense as well yourselves. So thank you for coming on board with that.
Yeah.
Could I just add one more thing? Quickly. So on that particular one, I mean, if you come up with something that is unique and is a real help at this time, well, then your channel might be a Zoom or might be a Facebook or some other entity who could bring in your unique idea and get it through to people. So we're likely to have these COVID tracing apps coming in now. Maybe it could be something that could be embedded within that. You might be just bringing that through some other existing channel. But one question that often comes up when I suggest something like this, and it's one that I did at one of the conferences, Eric Ries was asked, how do I protect my idea being stolen from somebody else? And he said that he gets that all the time, and he goes, do you know how hard it is to get your idea stolen by somebody else? He said, try your best to get your idea stolen by somebody else over the next week. See how many people will drop what they're doing in their lives to go and execute on your idea better than ever. It just doesn't happen. So don't be afraid to kind of partner with bigger organizations. They may not have the team or the expertise to really refine something, and they might be delighted to have it for you. And look, in something like this, if your idea ends up getting stolen by Zoom, for example, here, yet it helps so many people around the world do that, well, look, haven't you done something amazing for society? And you can always say, look, that was my idea and I brought it to Zoom. They took it, and people will respect that, and you'll have other opportunities coming out of it anyway. So look for the best partners, go and try and develop it, get some validation as best you can on it, and just go for it and see where it takes you.
Excellent. Well, Dave, I think it's fair enough to say it's a major thank you for your time this morning. We'll be running our judging tomorrow. We'd love you to pop in for that. And I'm sure you'll be on Twitter over the weekend if people have a few things they'd like to ask you. We're going to ask you just to pop off stage in the most lovely way by switching off your mic and switching off your camera. But Dave, from myself and Sinead, a big thank you for your help. So a major well done. Thank you.
Done.
So we are into our next session. So Saturday morning mentor sessions. Your mentors have been selected. They have been pushed down to your teams. Chat with your champion facilitators about that. And again, go in, have your questions ready. Be ready to really get the most from those mentors. And remember, always finish my new top tip, Sinead. I'm gonna give it to people is have two questions ready. One is, what your main question is. Second is, can you introduce me to two people? Can you introduce me to two people to answer the survey, or be a divil and go for three? What do you think, Sinead?
I'm a bit on the cheeky side myself, so I'd go for the 3. I'd go for the 3.
That's okay. And being cheeky, the next one, I just want to say thanks to these 6 cheeky people, is the Digital Hub, Elkstone, Microsoft, NDRC, Dogpatch Labs, and Action Point. A major thank you for supporting this weekend. Again, please use this hashtag. Sinead, do you have anything else before I play us out with some summer tunes?
No, just mentoring sessions are starting in about 20 minutes, guys. And if you don't have a team already, please, like we mentioned earlier, get into the hashtag I Need a Team channel. Natalie, who's our fabulous organizer, is in there and she's going to help you guys out. So get in, get a comment, get out your skill sets. We should have more people joining again today. And thanks for everybody joining us this morning. And again, David Cunningham, thank you so much.
A big thank you to David. A big thank you to all the attendees, all the mentors you're going to meet. And outside of that, all I have to say is get back to Discord and we will see you later. Goodbye. From myself, the captain, this guy right here, and Sinead, goodbye.
Bye, guys.